Welcome to the White Sox REKAP Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. Wow, what a week for the Chicago White Sox. As you know, I was in Philadelphia for the Major League Baseball Draft and All-Star Game experience. The White Sox drafted Rock Chalowski on Saturday, and then the Sox from there were the talk of the town, both from media scribes and players up and down the highest and lowest payrolls in the sport. As the White Sox enter the second half, tied for first place with the Guardians, what should we expect? Are the White Sox shopping at the trade deadline? Can they win the AL Central? And we get Brian Anderson's experience in the Alumni Home Run Derby that the White Sox had on Saturday while I was in Philadelphia. He was sitting there hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. Whew. A lot to break down here on this edition as the White Sox and us turn the page on the first half and look forward to the summer pennant race that will be the Chicago White Sox, the wild card in the American League Central. It's the White Sox REKAP Podcast, and it starts right now. All right, BA, my man. Look, man, I was really impressed. Originally not slated, okay, for the Alumni Home Run Derby, and there's plenty to talk about, as I said in the open, but let's cut to the chase. I'm in Philadelphia, running up and down the streets, trying to chase anybody down to talk about the White Sox. You get a phone call on Friday night when the White Sox make a trade for Jacob Gonzalez and Brandon Eisert to Pittsburgh for the 34th pick, and Alexei Ramirez all of a sudden bows out of this Alumni Home Run Derby. You get a last-second pinch hit appearance, and then, my friend, you went crazy in the first round. I think you hit 8, if I'm not mistaken. And if you haven't seen it, folks, check out our socials. BA tweeted it as well on his Twitter. It's on at the Catman on Instagram. We did a mic'd up segment with him, and it was fantastic. But BA, what was the experience like for you? Are you still sore?
Still sore, man. First off, man, your haircut is on point. So you got to keep it. We got to keep it tight on the sides, brother. It's going to look way better.
Thank you.
It was crazy. So I actually got the call. So early on, it's my fault, right? Like Mike Downey, I've had his number forever, and for whatever reason, I didn't store it. So about like early in the morning that day on Friday, I got a text being like, "Hey, BA, what's up, man? Are you still in Chicago?" I'm like, delete. Like, who's this? So I didn't respond, and then I got a text. I got a call from this kid named Bennett Markinson. He's the White Sox bullpen catcher we've had on the podcast. He played for me at Northwestern. I answered. He's like, BA, how would you feel if I threw BP to you during tomorrow's home run derby? And I'm like, well, that would be cool if I was in it. You know? So, and then in the background, I could hear Bob Bechtel. Bob Bechtel's like, yeah, man. Like, and I was like, listen, dude, like my back's messed up. Like, there's no way. And in my head, I'm going, you idiot. Why didn't you go take some swings like the last month just in case? And, so I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I was cooking dinner. I was like, I'll call him back. I'm like, you know what, Bark? Tell him I'm in. I told Bennett I'm in. I called Mike Downey. I said, listen, dude, I'm in. He goes, thank you for saving us because this is last minute. I go, you're telling me?
Yeah.
I go, I'll be on the field in less than like 16 hours, dude. So
and when's the last time you swung a bat?
Years. I mean, I think either it was in 23 or 24, the kids at Northwestern, we were at Iowa, they were popping off like, you coach, you can't still hit homers. And I took a couple hacks and launched one over the scoreboard in left center field at the Iowa Hawkeyes Stadium. So that was it. But it's been 2 full years, man. And Gordon Beckham was like, man, that was pretty good. I go, man, imagine if we'd have taken some swings. So the goal next year is to hopefully be invited back as the biggest surprise of the group. And I'll be ready to go. You and I will go take some beeps before.
Yeah. The only negative for me is that you got the phone call. I'm in Philadelphia and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like this would have been the perfect like live stream podcast, but we got our guy out there to mic you up. And if you haven't checked it out, it's really good stuff. I was proud of you, man. Like you didn't want to lay a goose egg, but then you went out there and put on a show. So
Guff, the first two or three swings there, I was like, uh-oh. I had some friends that I looked afterwards. They're like, we thought it was going to be bad, man. So I was like, oh God, like rollover, flare, infield pop up. And then after that, I was like, bam, bam, bam. So I felt great, man. It was a lot of fun. It was cool too, because about 20,000 fans stuck around, and the full in the outfield was pretty filled in the back. And after I hit a couple in a row, I'm like, man, I miss this like pressure. Like I missed the butterflies. So it was cool.
Yeah, really cool. And so I'm in Philly, and the White Sox draft Rock Chalowski. And obviously Saturday, the White Sox did a really good job of making Saturday's game against the Athletics an event. They opened the doors early so fans could see the pick. Then there was the game, which was the quickest game ever. It was like a 2-hour game. And then you guys had the Alumni home run derby. The White Sox sweep the A's, a great response to the Red Sox. And then the weekend festivities start with the months of speculation about who are they taking. I think they got it right. If you haven't checked out the last edition of the podcast, you hear from Rock, you hear from Chris Getz. I did an interview with Connor McKnight, who was there with me in Philadelphia. Really good breakdown stuff. I asked Rock that question about, his experience here, and that's when the 2 a.m. comment came up and him playing with them in the show. But fast forward past the Chalowski and the Tomey draft in the White Sox 20 rounds of picks. Then I start talking to other All-Stars. I start talking to like the big names in the sport that you would know, the Passons, the Heymans, et cetera. And it's all about the White Sox. Man, what a surprise. Man, what a treat. I saw Dylan Cease off the podium. Gives me a hug. Goes, what's up, bro? Your boys are doing great. They probably need an ace or two. Like, hint, hint, wink, wink. But my point is, BA, like, it's great. It's cool when like greatness understands good. And I'm not going to put the White Sox in greatness, but like Freddie Freeman raving about the White Sox because they just had come here and lost 2 out of 3. And he said, like, playing there is different now. Like playing in that ballpark that's packed, the energy, the talent, it's different. And I think it's cool when players recognize good things happening in the sport around them. Did you have that type of experience when you were playing?
Yeah, but let me just tell you, Guff, the buzz around Wright Field right now is incredible. You've been there more than me this year, but I think you can see the gradual, the ascending to the top, right? I was doing the 24 hours I had too. I mean, right after the all that stuff, the draft and the game, it's like, I had to be on TV with Chuck on CHSN the next day, and fans were sticking around the studio or the booth area where we're doing the show. Post game, they hung out for a half hour, like maybe 50 fans, and they're like rooting us on in between commercial breaks. So the buzz is real, and it's a lot of fun too. But again, it's incredible. We were talking about this early in the year. We're like, man, are they going to win 80 games, 70? We're like, we'd be happy with the rebuild. I mean, the White Sox get into the playoffs, all bets are off, because you get some young, dumb kids with some veteran leadership, and they're having fun. That's what we were. We were very talented in 05, but we were having so much fun. That was it. Like the camaraderie was off the charts, and the camaraderie is off the charts with this team too. I mean, I after I hit those home runs in the Alumni Home Run Derby, Chase Mydroth and Colson Montgomery were hanging out for 2 hours after the game to watch.
That's all. I heard that. Yeah. I'm like, that's incredible.
And I gave Chase a hug. I go, this bat has homers in it. And I even told him too. I said, Chase, you're a great player, man. I go, you're Mark Grudzielanek 2.0. I said, what I love about you, kid, is that on our podcast, I kind of gave you shit about, you should hit for more power because you have great bat to ball skills. And look, you got 6-7 home runs at the break, and you had only had 5 or 6 last year. So you look at that, and these kids are responding. I think they're responding to the fans, and most time fans, when the pressure gets on the players, they tend. I know sometimes I would crumble. Right, the pressure gets to you. I think they're just thriving and basking in this energy the fans are giving them.
I talked to a boatload of people, players, coaches, et cetera. I talked to Derek Shelton, was a coach on the AL coaching staff, the manager of the Twins. And I went up to him and was asking about his impressions of the White Sox. And that's one thing he said. He's like, you can tell from the other dugout that those guys are having fun and they like each other. And he's like, and I'm just telling you, like, that does matter. And if they like each, he's like, they're standing on the top step of the dugout in the 4th inning because they care about each other and they care about the wins. So when opposing managers within the division are talking about that, I think that goes to show you like exactly that proves the point you just made. Obviously, Murakami got a ton of pub, a ton of credit.
That's all I saw, Gov. That's all I saw.
Dude,
how about
like, singing with Matt? He's on McAfee. He's on MLB Network. I had to kind of fight my way into the Japanese media scrum to get a couple of questions in with Murakami, and I thought they were telling you, and I wanted to play this for you because, everyone's been talking about the White Sox as a surprise, and the only people that are not surprised by the success are the White Sox. And, hopefully the audio comes through here. It's kind of quiet, but like this was Murakami's response to everybody else in the big league saying that they're the surprise of the first half.
I didn't see this team as a surprising team. Obviously, I don't know the past years of what the White Sox had, but when I came in, we had a winning attitude. It was the locker room had a winning atmosphere environment, and we're not afraid of anything right now. We want to win, and we have that winning culture in our blood. So we're going to go straight and look forward to going to the Championship World Series, and that's what we're aiming at right now. So nothing's surprising us at the moment.
All right, so faint audio. But how about if you can make, and I'll paraphrase what he said, but like nothing surprising us right now. We fear nobody, and we're focused on going to the World Series. I put that out there, blew up all over social, like as I expected it to. And I also put the video out because I want context to the quote. And some people are like, well, that's going to come back to bite him. And I don't think so. Why wouldn't they be focused on the World Series, BA?
Yeah, they're on borrowed time, dude. What do you mean it's going to come back to bite him? He can say whatever he wants. Plus, Connor's doing an amazing interview over there. Like, Fat McAfee's like, hey, can we just call you Connor? And his interpreter was like, and he's like, sure, that works.
Sure, Connor. Yeah, that was great.
But like, this guy, not just the Japanese, the thing, but when we brought Chadahito Oguchi over, man, like Gooch was like funny, man. He would interact with the team. He had an interpreter, but he would still laugh. Like he still would be a part of that team. And the language barrier, the one thing, Guff, as you know, that is so unbelievably beautiful about the game of baseball, it gets rid of language barriers don't exist. Like when the game of baseball brings cultures together and people gel, like you think about that. You don't even need to speak the same language. And the dude is like killing it. Like I could never go to Japan and like, yeah, they would dote over you because you're an American player, right? And you may be a superstar or whatever, but like these guys, this guy's thriving and English is his second language, but baseball is the common denominator here. And you just see, it's just great to see. That's how you know the White Sox are playing well and they're firing on all cylinders. Everyone's rooting for them. Yeah, maybe not when they play them, but, the Dodgers are probably like, that's sweet. Freddie Freeman, that's awesome. Dylan Cease, a former player. Yeah, maybe a little bitter. He didn't get the contract he wanted here, but, hey, I bet you he'd like to be here right now.
Yeah. The only people who don't see, other than maybe Derek Shelton, who could understand it as a manager, I talked to some of the Guardians players. I talked to Joe Ryan. Like they're like, yeah, they're a good team. It's going to be a good race. So like, they don't want to give too many compliments to a team.
It's still in the mix
in the division. Like Joe Ryan laughed when I talked about the homer he hung in the 8th inning to Murakami. He's like, yeah, I still want that pack. When I threw it, I was like, no. Just like really good stuff. But I think you're right. I think it's cool to see players and teams root for good stories in the sport now. And by the way, let's just like give a hat tip to Miguel Vargas, who hit that 433-foot bomb.
And that pitch was, let me tell you, that pitch, I felt like that was a tough pitch, and he golfed it out of there. It reminded me like Bo Jackson golfing that one for 440 feet or something?
433. And I love Robleski's reaction as soon as that ball was, like, he just was like, you saw the pitch. Yeah. That guy is a stud and absolutely dealing. And then Pete Crow Armstrong, of all people's, mic'd up at the time. He's like, oh, like that ball was absolutely torched and torpedoed.
Great guy to mic up, by the way.
It was. I talked to Pete Crow Armstrong. He seems to be a love-hate guy in this town for obvious reasons, but he's a really good soundbite and really good player.
How could he possibly not be good? Cappy loves him.
All right, so we turned the page here in the second half. All right, and the first thing on the docket, other than a road trip to Toronto and Texas, is that we're all looking ahead to the same thing, the trade deadline. And it was all about getting to the deadline. It was all about getting to the All-Star break, then the draft, and now it's the deadline. There are reports out this morning from Ken Rosenthal saying The White Sox have no problem being aggressive in deals that would give them player control. They're not going to be overly aggressive or spend too much prospect capital on rentals. I hear that and I'm like, sounds like a good plan to me. What I would not like to hear is like, the White Sox are not really interested in shopping any of their top prospects for anything. That would tell me, like, okay, well then you're just going to try to like ride this thing out. And I think BA, like, there's a thread. We've talked about this on the pod. They can thread the needle here. They can afford to give up a big prospect if it's going to get a Reed Detmers, a Logan Webb. I mean, those are two different pitchers.
Hey, man.
The guys that have, they're not going to get Joe Ryan. I don't think the Twins are trading Joe Ryan. They're in the race. Mm-hmm. But we're going to make a bold prediction at the end of this podcast for something to happen in the second half for the Chicago White Sox, and I have some sound as well. But as the trade deadline gets close, and it's August 3rd, we only have about 6 to 8 sellers right now. How important and what do you need to see from the White Sox from now until August 3rd to say, hey, you definitely have to go add something because you have a shot to win the division?
Well, I think they're already there, right, Duff? But Chris Getz had a soundbite. I'm sure you heard it. And it really struck home with me because it made me like rethink how you and I were talking about who do they go get? Who do they give up? Right? I think who they give up is secondary to does the guy they do go get, does he mesh well with this team? And Getz made a very good point. He's like, yeah, we want to go get a guy, but like, I'm not going to go get a guy if he's not the type of guy that this clubhouse, if he meshes well with this clubhouse. Like you have a young team, like you go get some guy that's like real serious, and like doesn't like to maybe have fun and all that. Like that might not be a good fit. And you're not going to give up a Caleb Bonham or Hagen Smith if it's a guy that you're like, man, is this going to be a problem? And no, like, and I'm just saying, like, Aroldis Chapman, not that he's a bad guy. He's like, he checks all the boxes, but for whatever reason, if there's something that they think, man, that might not go well in our clubhouse, that they're not going to give something up for that. I think that a guy like Logan Webb, if they look at his character, his makeup, if that's the guy, they're like, he not only checks the box, we do want to give up a couple prospects. We're willing to do that, but does he mesh well in our clubhouse and does he make us better there too?
And I think, there's going to be help from within. Is that going to be enough to withstand a pennant race? I don't know. We've seen good things from Shane Smith in a rehab start in Charlotte. Tanner McDougal, we know, has been moved to the bullpen. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those two arms up here at some point. It doesn't mean that you fix it internally. It's not like you have Dylan Cease that's been on a rehab all year coming back in the second half. Like that's not the case. I think I like the idea of not like spending a top 50 prospect on Robbie Ray, who's only got 2 months left. Like
I totally agree.
Okay. And that I will dance on that floor all day long. You want to take some flyers. You want to take like a guy outside of our top 100 and maybe a depth piece down the line for a rental. No problem. All in. But I'm not going to give up, Billy Carr. I'm not giving up Carlson or anybody like or Hagen Smith or Noah Schultz for 2+ months of anybody. And
sure.
That might not be what you want to hear. Sox, we're going for it. You can go for it still and be smart and hold to your prospect capital. The White Sox are getting rave reviews for their draft. Excuse me, not for Rock Chalowski, for the whole thing.
Dude, they got a guy, Guff. They got a guy. I just, because I know we'll get off on a tangent, but they got a two-way kid out of Jersey, Weingarten or something like that. And then they got the kid named Cal Scolari from Oregon. They picked him up in the 3rd or 4th, but they got this other kid, this two-way guy down the road. And I talked with JJ too about him. I'm like, I've seen this kid play before, JJ. He's like, he's you in high school, two-way, like huge upside. I mean, they did very well in that draft.
Yeah, and they're getting graded really well from Pipeline to Baseball America to Up and Down. I have some sound here because I want to ask you about this out of the sound. Talked to a couple of guys, not just at the All-Star game. I have Randall Grichuk is the first guy you're going to from here, and then Miguel Vargas about have the White Sox proven to the front office that they are and should be buyers. And then there's a great soundbite about the crowd, playing in front of the crowd from Miguel Vargas that I want to touch on here on the back end. So it's Grichuk and Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, the way we played in the first half, the way, we've looked in this division, I definitely think that it's a chance for them to go out and add some pieces that can really, push us over the top.
I don't know what is going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but, I think we're in a great spot for playing the playoff. And, I think the whole team, we get that opportunity to play, to have a good second half too, and go into the playoff. And, I think we're going to have a good spot for sure.
Have you been surprised by the fan support that you guys have had, and to see how you guys respond to it, because you become one of the best teams in baseball at home?
Yeah, 100%. And, I never have been playing like in that atmosphere where it is 30,000 people every single night in the South Side. And, for us, it's like unbelievable experience, and I haven't never played like that before. And, now when umpires and other teams came to the stadium, they're like, oh, this is how it used to be every night here. And, when we got that back and we got the support, and even we have some games that we down in the 9th inning and they don't go, they stay in the game, and, that means a lot for us too.
So really, like, there's a two-parter there, right? I mean, Grichuk, who's been a veteran and has had playoff experience, I purposely wanted to ask him because
he's your new favorite player, isn't he? I know it is. I know you love that.
Not my favorite
dude.
player, but my favorite player at this time of year, because he's the guy a young team can lean on. Like, I've been told that he loves it here and would love to stay here. So he's really done a great job, as we know, platooning when the Yankees cut him loose. But when you have guys publicly saying, we've proven to the front office that we deserve to add a few pieces, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question correctly, because saying it and doing it are two different things. But when you're publicly saying that out loud to the media and it's getting out there that, like, yeah, like, we've shown that we can win this division and that we belong, do you feel like that gives an extra boost to Chris Getz and company? Like, hey, we need to help these guys out. They have proven to us.
Yeah, but I also think it's a indirect way of saying, like, hey, we're good this year. Let's get the pieces to help the big league club. Yeah, good. Congrats to the minor league guys. I wish them nothing but the best, but it's win now time. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I was thinking a lot about what you said. We've talked about this a lot offline too. It's like, hey, if Robbie Ray comes around and they're like mid-tier prospect and a Billy Carlson for Robbie Ray, like later, like take him.
Carlson's a top 50 though.
I get it. But then you want to get into like the Hagen Smiths and Bonnemers? No. But for me,
now you're talking about Logan Webb? Like, you're telling me I have Noah Schultz, Logan Webb, Caleb Bonnemer? Bonnemer hurts. I want to keep Bonnemer.
No, it stinks. But like I said, Bonnemer's great. But he's hit 0 homers in the big leagues, and he's never played here, and there's no guarantees for next year. And dude, he might be the most dangerous prospect in baseball. But if San Francisco calls and says we want Hagen Smith and Caleb Bonnemer, I'm like, I'll cry later. But dude, we just went from going to the playoffs to a real contender.
Yeah. So, and then I love the back end question there to Miguel Vargas. And the reason I asked it is because this team, they're even different than you guys back in 2005. And there's such huge contrast between the team that won 99 games and this team that's young and coming. Mm-hmm. But at home, there's a clear advantage for the White Sox at home. Clear. And when home field advantage matters in the early rounds of the playoffs, the White Sox acknowledging that being at home mattering, I think that's a thing. Like, that almost is a louder cry to me than them publicly saying, yeah, we deserve to add more. I would be trying to build every environment possible to make sure you get a home series, or are the team, like, if you win the division, then it's going to go back and forth, but that you are the team getting that third game at home. Do you agree?
Yeah, like, Guff, can you imagine, like, okay, the Yankees play at home. It's the Yankees, but they expect to be there. They're like, we're in the playoffs again. Boston, we're in the playoffs again. Hey, the Tiger or the Cleveland Guardians, we've been there quite a bit lately, right? Can you imagine Rate Field with White Sox fans, the type of mentality they have after losing 121 games a couple years ago and then being not very good last year? Imagine the appreciation and the energy in that place. It will be unmatched. It's essential they win the division.
I got goosebumps with you saying that because in 21, when they played, like they were limping in 21, they were not likable. Like we knew the Astros were better, and they had that one like second blackout game where Leary hit the homer, and that was cool. But that was a one-off. Like you're right. The buzz for this would be like the amount of blood, sweat, and tears the fans have been given for 2 rebuilds to have that experience. I do agree with you. The really interesting thing will be certainly the trades and the trying to like, it's for us to sit here and fodder over for 2 weeks, names and throw things out of a hat. There's going to be guys traded we don't expect, but we know the Guardians don't have a big budget, and we know the Twins originally went into this year. I think they traded 10 players last year at the deadline.
Yeah, they're tip of the cap to them.
Tip of the cap. They're right now in the wild card as we speak, but we know their budgets are not high. And because of that, if you are trying to win the AL Central, I think that comes into play too. Like if you can go get any rental and it doesn't cost you those guys we've been talking, let's say Robbie, we'll just keep using Robbie Ray. That makes you the prohibitive favorite, I believe, in the AL Central. Because I don't expect the Twins or Guardians to do all that much.
And what scares me a little bit, Guff, and I talked to Chuck Garfien about this. I don't know exactly where they stand. I think it's 5-6 games around there. But the Detroit Tigers scare me a bit.
I'm glad you brought them up. Yep.
Well, they scare me a little bit because they've been there before. They have the equalizer as their ace. They have Spencer Torkelson, who's like at any given time could go like hit 10 in a month. They have guys Riley Green and McGonigal, like those guys, man, like they're young too and they're hungry too. So if they catch fire, if they come out of the gate early in the second half, I think that the White Sox definitely have to make a move.
I agree, and they may have to anyway. But here's what I'll say about Detroit. Detroit was on fire at the end of the first half. They won 7-10. They lost those last 2 games. They got within 6 games under, and then they lost the last 2 to Philadelphia. And you know what they lost in those 2 games? 2 games in the division. So when you've had that terrible of a first half, you can't really afford to win 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 6. They have to win 9 out of 10, 13 of 15, 15 of 18 to have that. Now, are they capable of doing that? Hell yeah. They got Tarek Skubal. They came out publicly today as we record this and said Tarek Skubal isn't going anywhere. The ownership doesn't want to trade him. I think we've kind of known that. They have a record payroll, so they're going to go for it. If you are a Chicago White Sox fan, and let's be honest, if you're listening or watching, you're a big Cubs. You're a huge Cubs fan this week. Yes, I said it. You want to know why? They have the Twins and Tigers out of the break at Wrigley Field.
That's huge.
The Cubs could bury both of those teams. They could. And so be a big Cub fan out of the break. The White Sox have the ability to put the Blue Jays into sell mode. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot to watch right out of the gate. I do agree with you. I think the Tigers are going to be the team that is most likely to add a big name of the entire group, including.
By the way, how sick would it be, Guff? How sick would it be if White Sox fans, while they're gone, they're starting on the road. How sick would it be if White Sox fans went to Wrigley and rooted the Cubs on in White Sox? Hey, that'd be fun. That'd be awesome.
How about that for a PSA?
That would be sick.
Go to Wrigley and have some beers, have a great time in the sun, and go root.
Wear your White Sox jersey and root for the Cubs. It'd be sweet.
The only time I don't like people who wear other teams' jerseys for 2 teams that aren't playing. I don't understand it. In this case,
this is an exception.
It's a PSA. The Cubs are playing the Twins and the Tigers. Go be a Cub fan for a week, okay? Because they can help make decisions within your own division, and I think it's super important. The Cubs go 5-1 this week.
Oh. Hey, man, you know what? When we get done filming this podcast, you got to reach out to your people at the White Sox and PR, the Bechtals, the Brookses, and say, hey, PSA this, dude. At White Sox fans, how many White Sox fans we'll buy the tickets. We're giving away 500 tickets to the Cubs game. You wear your White Sox fan and cheer on the Cubs.
I don't think the Cubs have 500 giveaways.
Hey, I don't know, man. You can be surprised the lots they stick aside for
I think this
personal.
Feels like the tease that'll be going out for our promotion of this podcast.
Yeah, right, man. Go get them.
All right, so we did our predictions podcast. We've been talking about them all year because some of them have been really bad, and there's been some that have been really good. Like your boy got a point for Murakami. going to the All-Star game. So that's a big point.
I got -10. Mine's in AAA.
Yeah, that's hoodies too. I think hoodies with Shane Smith as well. All right, so we sit here. It's the second half. The White Sox are in Toronto. Give me one bold. We're putting each other on the spot. We have not talked about this.
Okay.
We don't know each other's predictions. One bold prediction for the White Sox in the second half. Bold prediction, not a prediction.
No, I have it. But mine entails two pieces that are bold. I think the White Sox prevail. They win the division, but during the process, they will acquire an arm or two. I think they're going to stay heavy on the arms, right? But I think in them winning the division, at some point here in the second half, Shane Smith gets called up and he comes and pitches with a vengeance and comes and fucking dominates. I think he comes in, attacks, and goes gets 4 or 5 wins in the second half and just shoves as that 4 or 5 starter and helps them get them over the hump.
I like it.
That's bold.
It's really bold. And I was thinking of is it not bold enough to say that they'll win the division? So I got a bold prediction. For the record, I said the White Sox were going 73-89. So that's already punted into the sun. You want my bold prediction, BA?
Can I guess?
You can guess.
You're going to say the White Sox are going to win 95 games.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say the White Sox are going to the ALCS.
Wow. I know what? I love it. I'll tell you what, the White Sox get to the ALCS, they can win the whole thing. I know that's only 2 steps away, but
tell me they can't. I mean,
you know what we should do? MLB should do a survey right now. What's the last team you guys want to face right now in terms of that are a problem? I guarantee you the White Sox are top 3. I bet it's them, Dodgers, and Tampa or something.
If the game's played in Chicago, I guarantee you that would be an answer. Mm-hmm. My prediction comes with the assumption that somebody that's not on the roster right now is going to be on August 3rd. So my prediction includes some type of acquisition to help thrust this over the top. And it also, the biggest help would be the White Sox do enough to clinch the 2 seed, which means winning the division and getting that first round bye. So they have to win one series to get to the ALCS. They have to win the
I agree. So let's get a little more bold. Let's take it to a different level.
Whoa. A little more bold. This is an organization that's been to the ALCS 3 times in 66 years.
Okay, I was there once. Where are you on? No, but let's be even more bold. Listen, let's be even more bold. What elite arm do they acquire at the trade deadline? You know where mine is because it's the one I picked from the beginning. I say they're getting Logan Webb. They're gonna go get him. They're gonna sell out and go get him. It's gonna sting. It's gonna sting what they give up because it's gonna be a Hagen Smith or a Bonnemer, but they're gonna go get him. It might even include a Noah Schultz in that package.
Wow. First of all, if that happens,
whatever.
I'm gonna go rental. Kevin Gausman is going to be my pick for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto?
Yeah.
Dude, and let me tell you, why I know I like that one, Guff, is because I think about my big league career and I go, man, who did I really struggle with? And it's that dude. It's heavy sinker, power off speed. And it's man, and listen, Justin Verlander is probably the top 3 best pitchers of my generation. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, MVP. But where's the 97s with a hook? Just give me those guys every day. I'm still playing. I actually go right into the Alumni Home Run Derby just from last year and roll into it this year. But I like that Gausman, man. Is it Gausman?
Gausman, yeah.
Gausman. But man, that guy, he's the type of guy that can go. He's got elite stuff.
He pitched in the World Series last year, for God's sakes. He's got
elite stuff.
You're getting a veteran with stuff and postseason experience and innings, et cetera. Now that also requires stepping on the throat of the Toronto Blue Jays, and the White Sox are first up this weekend with the ability to do that because they're in last place in the AL East and they're hanging by a thread. Vladdy's hurt. They are just hanging around, and you have the ability to punch them into.
Vladdy's hurt. My God. Yeah. His ego for having 7 homers.
And let me say this real quick about rentals. I agree. We talked about I don't want to give up a ton for rentals. The price is going at some point you want to hang on to Kevin Gausman, who has no years of control left and you're in last place in the East because you're not getting a top 100 and no one wants to pay it?
No, they're giving him up. You're right. That could be the play.
Now, we'll see what happens. But bold prediction, the White Sox are going to be in the ALCS.
I love it,
see how it plays out. I think we both have great predictions. If either of our predictions come true, it's going to be an awesome 2.5 months down the stretch because
get my media pass ready, dude. Hey, I need one.
I know a guy. Okay. I think you do too. Hey, you just did a huge solid and helped them out by playing in the home run derby. I think you're good.
Yeah. When I got a bunch of pats on the back from Garfine and Brooks and Mike Downey, they're like, dude, you killed it. I go, what the hell you think I'm doing around here, man? Like the White Sox drafted me. I was good at one point.
Oh, man. Really good stuff. I'm excited baseball is back. It was fun to be in Philadelphia and hearing that the White Sox are among the talk of the baseball world yet again for the first time in quite some time. The first time the White Sox had 3 position players at the All-Star game in 20 years. It tells you how long the pain and suffering has been. Brian Anderson, always good to be with you, brother, and look forward to a second half of fun here on the pods. There's going to be some roller coasters happening, but be ready for a lot of breaking news podcasts because I think we're going to be doing more as the White Sox come down the stretch, pal.
Awesome, man. This was a fun one, Guff. Man, it makes these way more fun when the White Sox don't stink.
Oh, it's so much more fun. Thanks for watching this edition. Thanks for listening. Audio only wherever you listen or download podcasts. If you aren't already a subscriber to the recap, come on, hop on board. There's 250,000 people already doing it. Click that notification bell. Every time we drop a new episode of the podcast, you get the notification. For BA, I'm Guff. Enjoy the start of the second half. We will be with you along every step of the way. For BA, I'm Guff. We'll see you next time on the White Sox Recap Podcast.